The desperate signal Captain Marcus Thorne stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel Starbound, watching the endless sea of stars through the main viewport. His ship had been charting unexplored systems for 3 years, searching for new worlds and peaceful contact with alien civilizations. The crew of 62 specialists included scientists, diplomats, and engineers, all dedicated to humanity's mission of peaceful exploration. "Captain, we're receiving an unknown transmission," reported Communications Officer Diana Wells. Her fingers danced across the control panel as she tried to isolate the signal. "It's coming from the Kepler 442 system, approximately 14 light-years away." Marcus walked over to Diana's station. The signal appeared as chaotic waves of energy on her screen, but there was something deliberate about the pattern. "How long has this been transmitting?" "Based on the signal degradation, I'd estimate it started about 6 months ago," Diana replied. "Captain, this isn't random space noise. Someone is deliberately broadcasting this." Dr. James Fletcher, the ship's xenolinguist, hurried to the communications station. He was a tall man with graying hair who had spent 20 years studying alien languages from the few species humanity had encountered. "Can you clean up the signal? I need to analyze the linguistic patterns." For the next 18 hours, Dr. Fletcher worked tirelessly to decode the alien transmission. The ship's most advanced computers processed the signal through every known alien language database. Finally, Fletcher made a breakthrough. "Captain, you need to hear this," Fletcher said, his voice shaking with exhaustion and excitement. He played the translated message through the ship's speakers. The voice that emerged was clearly artificial, but carried an undertone of desperate urgency. "This is the Zephyrian High Council, broadcasting on all frequencies. Our civilization is under attack by an unknown enemy. Our fleet has been destroyed. Our colonies are burning. Billions of our people are dead or dying." The bridge fell silent as the message continued. "We have heard stories from traders about a species called humans from the Sol system. Stories say that humans come from a death world and possess unusual strength and determination. We have heard that humans can fight when others cannot. If any humans receive this message, please help us. We are running out of time." The transmission ended abruptly. Marcus looked around at his crew, seeing a mixture of shock and confusion on their faces. Humanity had only encountered 3 alien species before, and all had seemed peaceful and advanced. None had ever asked for military assistance. "Dr. Fletcher, how accurate is this translation?" Marcus asked. "The linguistic patterns are consistent with the Zephyrian trade language we learned from the merchant vessels we encountered last year," Fletcher replied. "Captain, they specifically asked for human help. They know about Earth." Marcus activated the ship's intercom. "All senior staff report to Conference Room Alpha immediately. We have a situation that requires immediate discussion. The hidden truth deep beneath the surface of Luna Base." Admiral Catherine Stone walked through corridors that didn't exist on any public blueprint. The base's official purpose was scientific research and communications relay, but its true function was known to fewer than 50 people in the entire solar system. Catherine had short gray hair and sharp blue eyes that had seen too many classified reports. Over her 30-year career, "Admiral, we've received the priority transmission from Captain Thorne's vessel," said Colonel Robert Hayes, her second in command. He was a compact man with steady hands and a mind that never forgot details. "The Zephyrian distress call has been authenticated." Catherine entered the most classified room in Luna Base. The walls were covered with displays showing ship positions, crew rosters, and tactical information. But these weren't ordinary vessels. They were ships that officially didn't exist. "Computer, display Project Shadowblade's status," Catherine commanded. The screens lit up with information that would have shocked Earth's civilian population. Over the past 15 years, while humanity publicly pursued peaceful exploration, a secret military project had been preparing for a very different possibility. 312 warships had been constructed in hidden shipyards, scattered throughout the outer solar system. Each vessel was crewed by volunteers who lived normal lives as farmers, teachers, mechanics, and shopkeepers. When called upon, they would abandon their civilian identities and become the most lethal fighting force in known space. The Shadowblade fleet was humanity's insurance policy against the day when peaceful exploration would not be enough. "Colonel, how many ships can we deploy immediately?" Catherine asked. "First strike group consists of 48 vessels with full crews standing by," Robert replied. "Total fleet deployment would take 72 hours. Catherine studied the tactical displays. The Zephyrian system was far from Earth, in a region of space that few humans had explored. If there truly was an enemy capable of destroying an entire alien civilization, humanity needed to know what they were facing. Round the solar system, coded messages began reaching ordinary citizens. A mathematics teacher named David Park received a message on his personal communicator while grading papers. He calmly told his students to work quietly and left the classroom forever. On Mars colony, a mining engineer named Lisa Rodriguez got an encrypted signal while working deep underground. She informed her supervisor of a family emergency and disappeared within hours. In the asteroid belt, a cargo hauler captain named Tony Reeves was delivering supplies to a mining station when his ship's communication system activated with a priority override. He told the miners his company had given him a new assignment and changed course for coordinates that appeared on no public star charts. Catherine watched the status reports as they arrived. Ships that had been disguised as mining vessels and cargo haulers began revealing their true nature. Weapon systems that had been carefully hidden came online. Crews that had trained in secret for years started arriving at predetermined meeting points. "Admiral, Earth Defense Command is asking why we're activating military assets without government authorization." "On," Colonel Hayes reported. Catherine almost smiled. Earth's official government knew about Luna Base's existence, but not about the Shadowblade fleet. They thought the secret facility was just for monitoring alien communications and maintaining defensive satellites. "Tell them we're conducting a routine training exercise," Catherine ordered. "Classification level exceeds their clearance." She looked at the star charts showing the Zephyrian home system. Captain Thorne's exploration vessel would reach the alien world in 12 days. If there were survivors, they would need help immediately. If there were enemies, humanity needed to understand what they were fighting. The peaceful explorers and traders that other species knew were about to be replaced by something that had been hiding in the darkness between stars. The reconnaissance mission commander Jake Sullivan crouched behind the twisted remains of what had once been a beautiful crystal spire in the heart of Zephyr Prime's capital city. His reconnaissance suit made him nearly invisible to most sensors, adapting its surface to match the surrounding debris. Jake had been a forest ranger on Earth before volunteering for the Shadowblade fleet, and his skills at moving unseen through dangerous terrain had proven invaluable. The planet around him was a graveyard. The Zephyrian civilization had been known for their incredible architecture, cities that seemed to grow from the ground like living things, buildings that changed color with the seasons, and transportation systems that moved through the air like streams of light. Now everything was broken, burned, or simply gone. "Contact at 3 o'clock, whispered Sergeant Maria Santos through the team's secure communication channel. She was positioned on top of a ruined building 200 meters away, watching the area through a high-powered scope. "One of those things is heading your way, Commander." Jake peered around the edge of his hiding spot and saw what his team had begun calling a harvester. The creature looked like a cross between a machine and a living organism. It floated 3 feet above the ground on some form of anti-gravity field, and its body was covered in smooth, dark material that seemed to absorb light. Multiple tentacle-like appendages extended from its central mass, each one ending in different types of sensors and tools. The harvester moved with eerie grace, completely silent as it searched through the ruins. Its sensors swept back and forth methodically, looking for any trace of biological material. This was the 7th one Jake's team had observed in the past for days, and they all followed the same pattern, systematic searching with no apparent urgency. "Why are they still here?" asked Corporal Ben Carter over the comm. He was the team's technology specialist, hidden in a different section of the ruins. "They destroyed this planet months ago. What are they looking for?" Jake had been wondering the same thing. The reconnaissance team had found evidence that the planet's population of 2 billion Zephyrians, had been completely eliminated in less than 48 hours. The attackers had weapons capable of destroying entire cities in minutes. So why? Were they still searching? The harvester suddenly stopped moving. Its sensors turned directly toward Jake's position, and for a terrifying moment, he thought he had been detected. But after 30 seconds of complete stillness, the creature resumed its patrol pattern and moved away. That was close, Jake muttered. Too close, we need to relocate. The team spent the next hour carefully moving to a new observation point. Their training on Earth had prepared them for stealth operations, but these alien creatures had sensors unlike anything they had encountered before. Each movement had to be perfectly planned and executed. From their new position, Jake could see the center of the destroyed city, where the harvesters had constructed something that made his blood run cold. It was a massive, organic-looking structure that pulsed with strange bioluminescent patterns. Dozens of harvesters moved around it constantly, feeding information into its central core through neural-like connections. It's a data collection center, Ben observed quietly. They're downloading everything the Zephyrians knew about the galaxy. Jake watched as the structure displayed images and symbols on its external surface. He recognized some of them: star charts showing the locations of inhabited worlds, trade routes used by merchant vessels, and most disturbing of all, detailed information about different alien species, including their military capabilities and planetary defenses. The harvesters weren't just destroyers, they were gatherers of intelligence. They were studying every civilization they encountered, learning about their strengths and weaknesses, and preparing for future attacks. The Zephyrian homeworld wasn't just a conquest, it was a stepping stone to something much larger. "Commander, we need to plant the tracking devices," said Lieutenant Amy Foster, the team's explosives expert. "If these things are planning to attack other worlds, the fleet needs to know where they're going." Jake nodded grimly. The tracking devices were smaller than coins and undetectable by most sensors. Once activated, they would transmit location data back to the Shadowblade fleet ships, waiting at the edge of the system. But getting close enough to plant them would be the most dangerous part of their mission. The Fleet Awakens Admiral Catherine Stone stood in the command center of the battleship Retribution, watching as the largest military fleet in human history assembled in the darkness between stars. The ship was a masterpiece of hidden engineering, officially classified as a deep space research vessel, but actually mounting enough firepower to level a continent. "Final count, Admiral," reported Fleet Captain William Hayes, Catherine's tactical coordinator. 297 ships operational and ready for combat. Total crew strength, 43,000 personnel. Catherine looked at the holographic display showing the fleet's formation. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and support vessels stretched across millions of cubic kilometers of space. Each ship was crewed by people who had lived double lives. For years, ordinary citizens who had secretly trained to become humanity's ultimate weapon. "Status report from the reconnaissance team," Catherine asked. "Commander Sullivan's team has successfully planted tracking devices on 12 harvester units," replied Intelligence Officer Nancy Chen. "The data they've gathered confirms our worst fears. These entities are not just destroyers, they're preparing for a systematic conquest of the galaxy." The main display showed the intelligence gathered from Zephyr Prime. The harvesters had detailed information about 47 different alien civilizations, including their locations, populations, military capabilities, and resource levels. They were planning nothing less than the complete subjugation of all intelligent life. In the local galactic arm, MUM, we're receiving a transmission from Captain Thorne's exploration vessel, reported Communications Officer David Kim. "The Starbound has reached the Zephyrian system and is requesting instructions." Catherine activated the communication system. "Captain Thorne, this is Admiral Stone. You are to maintain your current position and await further orders. Under no circumstances are you to approach the planetary surface or reveal your presence to the hostile forces." Marcus Thorne's voice crackled through the speakers. "Admiral, with respect, we came here to help survivors. Are you telling me to abandon them?" "Captain, you are now operating under military authority," Catherine replied firmly. "Your ship is no longer on an exploration mission. You are about to witness the first combat deployment of the Shadowblade fleet. She switched to the fleet-wide communication channel. All ships. This is Admiral Stone. Today, we stop pretending to be peaceful explorers. Today, we show the galaxy what humans really are when our backs are against the wall. The response was immediate and overwhelming. 43,000 voices responded in unison. Ready to serve, Admiral. Catherine looked at her tactical display once more. The Harvesters controlled hundreds of ships and had weapons that could destroy planets. They had wiped out entire civilizations without mercy. But they had made one critical mistake. They had asked humanity for help, and humanity had answered. Fleet Captain Hayes, signal the attack, Catherine commanded. All ships, this is your attack order. William's voice carried across the fleet. Primary targets are the Harvester command vessels. Secondary targets are the data collection facilities. Rules of engagement: no mercy, no quarter, no survivors. The Shadowblade fleet moved forward, and space itself seemed to hold its breath. For the first time in galactic history, humanity was going to war not for territory or resources, but for the simple principle that no species should face extinction alone. The galaxy was about to learn why Earth was called a death world. The galaxy's new guardians. The Battle of Zephyr Prime lasted exactly 4 hours and 17 minutes. When it was over, the Harvester fleet that had terrorized the galaxy for decades was nothing but debris floating in the void. The Shadowblade fleet had struck with precision and overwhelming force, using tactics that no alien species had ever encountered. Admiral Catherine Stone stood on the observation deck of the Retribution, looking down at the liberated planet below. The surface was still scarred from the Harvester attack, but Commander Sullivan's team had found something incredible: underground shelters containing nearly 50,000 Zephyrian survivors. Admiral, we're receiving communications from 17 different star systems. Reported Communications Officer David Kim. Word of the battle has spread. Multiple alien species are requesting human assistance against Harvester forces in their regions. Catherine nodded. The galaxy-wide intelligence network the Harvesters had built was now working against them. Every species they had cataloged knew exactly where to find them, and humanity was systematically hunting them down. What's our fleet status? Catherine asked. All vessels operational, minimal casualties, replied Fleet Captain William Hayes. But Admiral, we're receiving another type of transmission. Peaceful alien species are asking to establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth. They want to join what they're calling the Terran Protection Alliance. Catherine smiled. The secret was out. Humanity could no longer pretend to be harmless explorers, but instead of fear, they were seeing something unexpected: respect, gratitude, and requests for partnership. Captain Marcus Thorne's voice came over the communication system from the surface of Zephyr Prime. Admiral, the Zephyrian survivors are asking to speak with you personally. They want to thank the humans who answered their call for help. 3 months later, Catherine stood in the newly constructed Galactic Council chambers on Luna Base. Representatives from 43 different alien species had gathered to sign the Terran Accords, a mutual defense treaty that would protect peaceful civilizations from threats like the Harvesters. The Zephyrian representative, a tall being with crystalline features named Valos, approached the podium. Before humanity revealed itself, we lived in constant fear. Pirates, raiders, and destroyers roamed the galaxy freely because no one was strong enough to stop them. Now, for the first time in centuries, peaceful species can explore and trade without fear. Ambassador Helen Foster, Earth's first official representative to the Galactic Council, stood to address the assembly. Humanity accepts the responsibility of galactic peacekeeping, but we cannot do this alone. We need partners, allies, and friends. Together, we will build a galaxy where knowledge and cooperation triumph over conquest and destruction. The various alien representatives erupted in what could only be described as applause. Though it came in many different forms: chirps, harmonics, bioluminescent displays, and subsonic vibrations. As Catherine watched the historic ceremony, she thought about the journey that had brought them here. A desperate alien distress call had triggered the revelation of humanity's greatest secret. The galaxy had learned that the quiet species from the third planet of an unremarkable star system was actually the most dangerous predator in known space, but more importantly, they had learned that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their ability to wage war, it was their willingness to fight for others who couldn't fight for themselves. The Terran Empire had been born not from conquest, but from compassion, and the galaxy would never be the same. Commander Jake Sullivan, now promoted to general and head of Galactic Security Forces, looked out at the stars from his new office on Luna Base. His teams were already investigating reports of new threats. In distant systems, the harvesters were gone, but the galaxy was vast, and there would always be someone who needed protection. He activated his communication system and sent a message to all human forces throughout the galaxy: stay vigilant, stay ready, the universe is counting on us. The response came back from thousands of voices across hundreds of star systems, ready to serve. Humanity had finally taken its place as the galaxy's guardian, and the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter.